By 2009, Naughty Dog were seen as kings of the storytelling genre, with the basic but deceptive storytelling the Crash Bandicoot franchise, the rich and emotional storytelling the Jak and Daxter series, and the critically acclaimed storytelling Uncharted 1 and 2. But Naughty Dog knew that they could pull a Goku and go even further beyond with their storytelling, so they started developing a game that would blow all the other storytelling games away. A game that will be remembered and embraced for years to come, and that game was The Last of Us. The Last of Us is a very interesting game to talk about, because it doesn't even feel like a game, but an experience of sorts. A captivating thriller. You see, The Last of Us is not like your typical game, where its gameplay is a primary factor, like how most games are nowadays. No, The Last of Us is a movie first and game second. That's where the story is the center focus, but let me give you a rundown on the story, since it's the biggest factor of this game and its success. The story starts with one of the most crazy openings, with Sarah and Joel trying to escape the city from a zombie apocalypse, and they almost escape until someone shoots Sarah, leaving her dead. We then flash forward 20 years later, where we see a much older Joel and his partner of sorts, who is Tess. They go and find a man named Robert, who is a dealer, and while we're fighting him, you can really see the aftermath of this apocalypse, with soldiers patrolling the streets, the dirtiness everywhere, and destroyed buildings. After he says he gave us our cash, the leader of the Firefly, Marilyn, says that she will double the cash if we smuggle teenage girl Ellie. So Joel, Tess, and Ellie start their journey, until some soldiers try to kill them, which leads to Joel and Tess finding out that Ellie is infected. This was pretty shocking, and is crucial in later parts of the story. Ellie says that she's been infected for weeks and hasn't turned into a zombie, saying that she might be the cure to this apocalypse. Joel and Tess eventually smuggle Ellie, but find that all the other Fireflies are dead. Tess then reveals that she's been infected and sacrificed herself for Joel and Ellie. This was a sad scene, and hearing her screams of pain while you're escaping really tugs at your heartstrings. We then find Bill, who helps us get a working vehicle. As we're driving to Pennsylvania, we get ambushed by bandits and the car gets wrecked. This was a crazy moment in the story. Up until we're getting a car, we were running on fumes, and getting that car really gave us an advantage. We needed the car, but with it busted, it seems that all hope is lost. Joel and Ellie team up with two brothers, Henry and Sam, but after escaping the city, Sam gets infected but hides it from the group, showing how desperate he is to live. But as his infection starts to grow, he starts trying to fight, which causes his death, and Henry commits suicide because he can't deal with the grief of Sam's death. In the fall, Joel and Ellie find Tommy. Joel contemplates if he should leave Ellie with Tommy, but Ellie conceives. She convinces Joel for her to stay with him. Tommy then directs Joel and Ellie to go find a Firefly station in the university, but they find the university abandoned. But they find out the Fireflies have moved to a hospital. A while later, Joel gets seriously injured by bandits that Ellie takes down. In the winter, Joel and Ellie hide out in the mountains, with Joel still being injured. He relies on Ellie to take care of him. As Ellie is hunting for food, she encounters scavengers who try to recruit her into his group, and she says no, so they take her by force. With Joel feeling a lot better, Joel goes to find Ellie, showing the bond they have, since at the start of the game, Joel could care less if Ellie gets lost, but now he would put his life on the line just for her. Joel finds Ellie as she's killing people, and she breaks down crying as Joel comforts her before they flee. In the spring, Joel and Ellie capture Firefly patrollers. Joel wakes up in a hospital as he learns Ellie is being prepared for surgery for the hope that she will be the key to making a vaccine to this disease. But Joel can't let her die, so he beats his way into the operating room and carries Ellie to the parking garage. He's confronted by Marilyn from earlier and shoots her in cold blood, so the Fireflies can't follow them. And with that, both of them escape, but with no vaccine in hand, setting up with a sequel. The dialogue in the story feels so real, it's almost cathartic in a way. There are certain scenes and levels where you just sit there, whether it's in a car or lying on a bed, probably talking to somebody. Literally, the opening of this game was just walking around as you see your city unfold to ashes. And this was a great move by the devs at Naughty Dog, since it really shows how the characters feel, more real and the conversations, but just in general, lets you take in what the hell is going on. The game does everything to make you feel connected to these characters and feel like you're actually playing them. That's probably why there's no type of display on your screen. There's no map, no subtitles unless you want them, and there's no health bar. There's also no kind of camera changer. The only camera option is in third person. That's it. So there's just the living characters that you're playing as, which makes The Last of Us feel, or in better terms, a living, breathing movie that you get to control and experience with these amazing characters. The Last of Us takes a bunch of notes from the Uncharted series, gameplay and story-wise, dialogue, character movements. Most pieces of media have some type of actor or actors to make their piece of media as good as possible, whether it be real actors or voice actors. And The Last of Us is no different. The voice actors here all do good jobs, which is a relief, with Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Jeffrey Price as Tommy, and Naughty Dog somehow got the legend himself, Troy Baker, to voice Joel. The soundtrack here is amazing, really capturing the essence of what The Last of Us is about, with natural sounds as the main star of the show for the music. But the soundtrack, especially the main theme, is overused though, I can't not lie. Gameplay in The Last of Us is an enigma to talk about because this game is focused on the story, not the gameplay as much, but there's still a lot to decipher from this game. So let's start with the shooting. The shooting in The Last of Us is an enigma because the shooting here isn't anything special. The shooting is basically just the same as the Uncharted series. It just isn't as cool in all honesty. But the shooting here shines because of its realism. In real life, people might own a gun and only use it when it's absolutely necessary to, like if someone's trying to rob or kill said person. It's the same thing inside The Last of Us. You won't use your gun immediately. You would, in like Uncharted, in this case, you would try to throw items at your opponents, stealthily, take your opponent down, or even just try and fight your opponent before using a gun. And that's because the guns in this game aren't that good. They take a long time to reload, they take multiple shots to kill one enemy, and you don't even have much ammo for said gun in the first place, making use alternatives. There is a bunch of stealth in this game, and it's done very well. With the infected and the clickers as your main enemies, it does make a good sense of fear as you sneak past them, and the stealth gradually gets harder as this game goes on and on. But by the end, you'll be sneaking past hordes and clickers and infected people. And Naughty Dog finally made a game with good NPCs. Naughty Dog's other titles, especially Uncharted 1 and 2, had horrible NPCs in my opinion, which really got annoying quickly. But it seems Naughty Dog has finally found footing inside the terms of their NPCs because The Last of Us NPCs are great, especially your allies. They actually help you and tell you if an enemy is behind you and help you in shootouts. It's honestly great. You can also craft certain items which have the same mechanics as the crafting in a game like Minecraft. You get the necessary items to craft a supply and you craft it. You can find supplies scattered throughout the areas, which employs you to explore every area that you go into. The puzzles in this game are quite the opposite from other puzzles Naughty Dog has done before. Like the puzzles in Uncharted has the game straight up tells you how to do the puzzles and then you have to do it. Some puzzles are a bit harder or different, but it always holds that same structure. A character tells Nathan how to beat the puzzle, or Nathan uses Francis Drake notebook for the puzzle. Either way, the puzzles are always beatable from a glance of an eye. But here in The Last of Us, it's completely different. The puzzles here are subtle, and half of the time you don't even realize what's going on until you complete it, because in all honesty, everything you do in this game is a puzzle. From trying to figure out how to escape an area with its narrow and linear corridor, to move on in the story to figuring out how to move past enemies without confronting them, shows that everything is a puzzle in a twisted type of way. It just sucks that there's just hints everywhere in this game. Sure, you can turn them off, but it takes you out of the immersion when this game is telling you what to do and when you're exploring it. Joel has the ability to hear things from afar, which gives you an advantage and leeway when confronted by a clicker or infected. You can also swim in this game. This doesn't add much to the gameplay and is rarely used, but you know, it's kind of cool. There's not much to say about this because, well, it's rarely used. The Last of Us looks great, especially inside the newly released Last of Us Part 1 version, but I think the remastered version loses a bit of the mystery and horror that the original game had. Since the remaster has a brighter color palette, the cutscenes are a little pre-rendered, but it's not that noticeable, and a lot more consistent than the cutscenes in the game like Batman Arkham Origins. And the little Easter eggs in certain rooms or sections give that extra bit of depth to the atmosphere in this game. There's also artifacts in this game which give lore to existing characters we learn more inside The Last of Us 2, which is really interesting. The environments and the set pieces in this game look almost lifelike, even on the PS3 version of this game. But that's probably because Naughty Dog was familiar with the PS3 console so much, making Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. So that's probably the reason why they pushed the limits of the PS3 hardware in this game. The color palette in this game is extremely dried out and dark. Yeah, there's games that have dark color palettes like Prototype or Infamous, but the people at Naughty Dog use the color palette to their fullest potential here. With The Last of Us, the color palette matches the theme this game is going for completely. Even if you put the brightness onto the highest settings, this game will still have a dark and dirty, honestly nasty color palette. The only main criticism I have in terms of presentation are the loading screens. They don't look good, which would be fine if it fit the theme of The Last of Us, but it doesn't, so it's kind of off-putting and immersion breaking. And the loading screens also take a long to get through. It's honestly a chore, but on the newly released Last of Us Part 1, it's not that bad. The Last of Us really is a masterpiece in this genre. With its incredible use of storytelling and intriguing gameplay and presentation, there was a couple of problems here and there, like the wasted swimming mechanics and horrible loading times, but these problems don't shadow the masterpiece that Naughty Dog made with The Last of Us. And this game earns its name as one of the best narrative games ever made, but that's for me. Thank you for watching, leave a like and make sure to subscribe. I love y'all more than I can know, and I'll see y'all in the next video. The Savior out.